so this lesson is going to finish up this packet on the introduction to sequences and series. And so today we're going to talk about series. And so a series is going to be the sum of the terms in a sequence. All right, and we have some examples of sequences, and we're going to show the difference between a sequence and a series. So if the sequence consists of the terms 1, 2, 3, 4, the series would be 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, which is 10. All right, and then this one is an infinite sequence. So these dot dot dots means it's going to keep going and going and going. And so each time on this, it looks like you're adding 3. And so we're just keep adding 3, adding 3. The numbers are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. When we add bigger and bigger and bigger numbers, it's going to add to infinity. And then this other sequence, the numbers are smaller and smaller and smaller. And so it actually adds up to be 1. Now, in our course, we aren't really going to worry too much about infinite series. It's not in our standards anymore. So really, what we're going to focus on is doing these or finding what's called partial sums. And so a partial sum, a partial sum is the sum of a specified number of terms. All right, and so one of the things we've really been focusing on this packet is notation. And so the notation for a partial sum is going to be a capital S and then a subscript of n. And n gives you the number of terms to add. Okay, so let's do some partial sums. So on number 1, we're given a sequence. It is an infinite sequence. It's going to keep going. But we're told to find S sub 9, which is going to be the sum. So we're going to add the first 9 terms. All right, so we have the first 5 terms. All right, now this pattern is super easy, so we can just add up the next terms. And you can type this in the calculator, but we could also do it in our head. If we pair up numbers that add to equal 10, that's going to be 10, 20, 30, 40, and then plus 5 more is going to be 45. That's the partial sum of the first 9 terms. All right, let's look at number 2. S sub 4 means we're going to add the first 4 terms of this sequence. All right, and then that's going to add to give you 49. Number 3, we're going to add 6. So we have 5. All right, so we need a 6th one. And if you notice, these terms are, this is 1 squared, 2 squared, 3 squared, 4 squared, 5 squared. So this needs to be 6 squared, which is 36. And that's going to add to equal 91. All right. And then for this one, we're going to add the first 3. And this one, you probably would want to use a calculator to add up those fractions. So you can write this a couple of ways. You can write it as 11/6 or 1.833333333. All right, so I want you to go ahead and practice this. So if you flip to the homework page, I'm going to have you do 15 and 16. 15 we're going to change to just do S sub 5, so you don't have to add up that many terms. All right, so pause the video, do those real quick. All right, so this one you should get 120, and this one should have been 784. So this one in class, kids struggled a little bit with it, but this is 1 cubed, 2 cubed, 3 cubed, 4 cubed, 5 cubed. So then you would need to add 6 cubed and 7 cubed to get it. All right, so let's talk about a different way to write partial sums. And so we're going back to the notes under what we just finished on the series page. We're going to talk about summation notation. All right, and so if you've ever worked with Excel and you've seen this symbol, that always means to add up all the terms or find the sum. Now this notation at the bottom tells us the first term number that we're going to use. And then at the top, it's going to be the last term number that we're going to use. All right, and what people like about this notation better than what we were just doing is you don't have to figure out the formula. You're given the formula of the sequence. All right, so what this is telling us is to start with n equals 1 and plug that in. All right, and then we're always going up by 1, so go to the next number, which is 2, plug that in, and then 3, and then 4, and then as soon as we get to the number that's on the top, that's the last term number that you're going to plug in. All right, and then we just need to add these together. So it's 2 plus 4 plus 6 plus 8 plus 10, or 30. Okay, now we're not doing 5 and 6 this way. I'm going to show you another way to do 5 and 6. So let's skip to number 7. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to start with 1, and we're going to plug it in for that k. So it's going to be 5 times 1 plus 2. All right, and then we'll go to the next number, 2, and plug it in, and just keep going up by 1 until we get to this top number of 4, and then that's going to be the last time we plug it in. All right, it's up to you if you want to do this in your head or with a calculator, but that's 5 plus 2, 10 plus 2, 15 plus 2, 20 plus 2. And all of that adds to equal 58. All right, now we're going to skip down and we're going to do number 11. All right, so this one's a little different. We're not going to start with 1 this time. We're going to start with 2, and that's okay. So it's going to start with 2 squared minus 1 plus, and then we're going to go to the next number, 3 squared minus 1. And just keep going up by 1 until we get to 6, because 6 is the number at the top. All right, and if you're good at squaring, then this is easy to do in your head too. So 2 squared is 4 minus 1, 9 minus 1, 16 minus 1, 25 minus 1, 36 minus 1. And then all of those add up to equal 85. All right. So now go ahead and pause the video and, turn to the back of your packet first. I want you to do number 19 and 22. Don't do any of the others this way. So do 19 and 22. So pause the video and then come back and check your answers with my answers. All right, so on 19, when you do all that, you should get 5. And then on 22, when you do all that, you should either get about 2.017 or 1,271 over 630. Okay, now I'm going to show you a way to do it in the calculator that you are going to absolutely love. So go back to the notes page, the front of the page that says series. And I'm going to show you how to do summation notation in the calculator. Right, we're going to go to the same place we always went to whenever we were doing log base. So it's alpha window, but we're not going to choose 5. So we're going to do alpha window, and then you can see this little E guy. So we're going to choose that. And then you just straight up put in all the parts. So it's alpha window 2, because it's got the little sigma. Right, so if we were going to do number 5, we don't have to use N. I like to use X because it's just right there. So instead of it being tedious, where we're just putting in 12 different numbers, you can just type it in, and it literally just gives you the answer, 66. All right, and then let's do the same thing for number 6. All right, now there are some that can be tricky. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So on this one, number 12, where it's got that square on the parentheses, when you do this alpha window 2, we can't put anything on the parentheses that they give us. So for example, if we were trying to do it this way, and we were going to type it in and do a square here, that is going to be wrong every time. Now it will give you an answer, but it's going to be the wrong answer. So what we have to do is have these purple parentheses I'm drawing right now be the parentheses that the calculator has, and you have to use your own parentheses inside. So 4 minus x, close the parentheses, and then the square. If you put the square on their parentheses, I promise you it's gonna be wrong, even if you put another set on the outside. So you have to put it inside theirs. And like I said, it won't tell you it's wrong. It'll give you an answer. It's 100% going to be the wrong answer. All right, so your assignment is to do the rest of these that you haven't done on the sheet. You don't have to worry about doing the notes. But on Unit 10, Homework 1, finish all the problems you haven't done. Now, this one right here, number 23, is like what I'm talking about, where you have that square on the outside. You can't do that in the calculator. So you're going to need to have these purple parentheses be the calculator parentheses and type it in. So do that one first. We make sure that you get the right answer, and then finish the rest of them. All right, so that should be it. So you have to have the square inside the parentheses. If they moved your square on the outside, it's because you put it on the wrong parentheses. So you can go back and rewind it and see how I typed it to get it right.